Gamers, do I have a fun build for you today? This one can instantly kill champs with one melee hit and will also refund your entire melee just for hitting them thanks to the rework of Peregine Greaves. Now before we get into the video, if you do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for all the support so far this season. This channel has been going like crazy. So this build's whole focus is around the exotic boots Peregine Greaves, which just got a rework this season. Its exotic trait gives all shoulder charges an in-air damage bonus of 1000%, and now also when you damage a mini boss, tormentor, or champion, you get your shoulder charge refunded. This allows you to use Greaves as an easy way to delete champions in just one melee. You can even use them against Nezarec since he is considered a tormentor. Now onto the subclass we're using. It's going to be Void Titan with Bubble with the abilities Rally Barricade, Shield Bash for Peregine Greaves, and a Suppressor Grenade to stun enemies and also deal with Overload champs. The aspects used are Offensive Bulwark to increase our melee damage even further by granting us a 100% melee damage bonus that will stack with all other buffs and debuffs, and then Bastion for Overshield in both Bubble and from Barricades so we can apply Offensive Bulwark to ourselves. Now the fragments used are going to be Echo of Starvation, so orbs can grant us Devour, Echo of Undermining to grant grenades a 15% weaken effect against enemies, Echo of Obscurity to grant us invisibility on finishers so we can safely kill champions, but it does have another use which I will explain just a little bit later, and then lastly Echo of Persistence to increase both the overshield and invisibility timers. So the mods I use for this build are to synergize with Echo of Obscurity to also grant us an overshield on finishers, allowing us to safely deal with champions while also applying Offensive Bulwark without needing to have Bubble or Barricade up at all. Now the crucial mod for that is called Bulwark Finisher, which grants us an overshield on finishers when we have 3 or more armor charges, and even grants a longer timer if you have more charges stacked. So unfortunately, yes, it only works if you have 3 or more armor charges, but that really isn't an issue, since on the boots we are rocking stacks on stacks, so every orb grants 2 armor charges, and then add in a Siphon mod on the helmet to generate an orb on weapon multi-kills, heavy-handed on the gloves to generate an orb of power on melee kills, and then Reaper on the class item to generate an orb on weapon kills after using your class ability. So this will basically allow you to realistically always have max armor charges and be able to use the overshield when we need to finisher to go invis. Now the other key mods for this build are going to be double focusing strike on the gloves so we can get our class ability back faster on hitting an enemy with our charged melee, and then charge it up so we can have 4 max armor charges to extend that duration of the finisher overshield. The weapons used for this build are really completely flexible due to the build not requiring any weapon at all, so you can use solar weapons like Sunshot or Polaris to take advantage of solar seasonal mods, or even use Tractor Cannon if you want a nice 30% debuff on melees. Which I will say, unless you're using this build to fight Nezarec, you really don't need that 30% debuff. It's kind of unnecessary. You can kill the champions without a debuff at all. Now what I'm using for GMs is a Blinding GL to blind mini bosses and tormentors, Polaris to safely deal with enemies from long range when I'm not pushing in to get a melee kill, and then either an Apex Predator or Briar's Contempt for a heavy weapon. While this build is honestly pretty niche, it is still so fun to use. Being able to kill champions reliably with one hit is so satisfying, and the fact you can use this build to do over 850,000 damage per melee against Nezarec is crazy. If you've been looking for a new Titan build that isn't just Banner of War, I highly recommend trying this out. It is pretty damn fun to use in GM content, or even like solo content like Law Sectors. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace!